Hello, ladies and gentlemen of the interwebs. This is Nord Notwork, and we are kind of on the Nebulous today. We have, as a group, been kind of desperately craving Feed the Beast. So, NICAD was kind enough to set us up a little server. So, this is a new series. Yay! This is Learn from My Mistakes. That's what I'm calling this one. Because while I love Feed the Beast, I am not very good at it. So, another one of those king slime things. I fought one of those things earlier. It was, well, here. Okay. That is a big slime. So, yeah, let's go kill it. Tally-ho! This is going to end so poorly. Wait, what? It's only got 20 hit points? Never mind. Goop. Okay. I can smack people. So yeah, they aren't very strong, which, for having the little hit bar, you would expect more. But anyway, I've been running around a little bit, found a nice little area to call home, and this is it. So, I haven't really done much of anything yet. I got the Tinker's Construct basic setup. Never played with this before, so this will be fun to watch me blunder through. I've already made my first mistake, apparently, and I don't have footage of this, but sometimes when you kill a zombie in the monster mod pack that we are using, he drops a backpack. This backpack has stuff in it. Now, if you're smart, you will loot the backpack, take the stuff, and move on. If you are dumb, like me, you will take the backpack, bring it back to your base, set it down because it has inventory slots, and fill it with all of your ores. So, if you notice, there is no backpack, there are no ores. Apparently, it has a set number of times that it can be placed, broken, and picked back up. And while I was testing it, I broke it, and it just disappeared. Just poof, gone. Kaiser associated with me. So I lost 3 or 4 stacks of iron, got a stack of copper, stack of tin. Nothing major yet, no diamonds or anything like that, but still pretty annoying. So this is the point where I'm jumping in at. It just happened. I was moving everything from the dirt ground, which will go away and form the basement, up to this area, which is going to be the starter portion of my home. And I broke the backpack, and then I wept for a little bit. And then I started recording. So, I am going to go mining. So I'll be back in a bit once I actually have some resources so that we can start building things. One thing I want to say, these things, if you guys haven't played Feed the Beast before, I just jumped out. These things are awesome. They're added by the Natura mod, and it's berry bushes. So you get the bush, you can break it, It drops. And then you can replace them. Can you put on top? Yeah. Now, when you place, they place tiny like that, but then they start growing. So, I originally placed a row of each of the berry types, and you can see I've got multiple rows stacked a couple deep now. Now these are awesome as an early food source, so if you see them scattered throughout the world, get the bushes. As the berries themselves, they're not terribly filling. They'll only give you like one or about half of a food thing. But if we take a couple of each kind, and I don't have any wood on me. Don't have an axe. Forgot where everything is. There we go. So if you take a couple of each kind and you go to a crafting bench and you make some bowls, you can place that. You can go, let's do blueberries and some raspberries and some mallow berries, and you get a berry medley. So you see, these will probably be my main food source for a while, because I don't want to have to keep hunting down cows, and I don't want to deal with the animal noises. But these you can eat even if you're not really hungry. If you just have a little bit of hunger, they have a ton of saturation. They'll keep you going. They stack, unlike mushroom soup. So you can actually get a stack of these and carry them with you. And you can just keep reusing the bowls like normal. But yeah, it's just a nice little early game food source. So at some point, I might go over to the spawn area and set up a little berry stand for the other guys. So far, it is myself, Nycad, Alrusha, and Nile that I have seen on here. I'm hoping Deadchim will join us. Nycad said that he has one of his subscribers, believe it or not, is joining the Nebulous, but I believe he's just joining for Feed the Beast. I don't know if he's joining the rest of it. But so we will have some more people on here as time goes on, and it's just a nice little distraction away from vanilla every once in a while. But I'm going to go mining. I'll be back with you guys in a little bit, and we will get to work on our Tinker's Constructs smelting area, which I've already got a couple stacks of seared bricks. Need to make up some more, but I lost all my coal too, because I had that in the bag. So yeah, charcoal it is. Alright, I'll be back with you guys in a bit. Okay guys, I'm back. I did a little bit of mining, and I actually found that backpack that I lost. Apparently, when I broke it, it was actually on me, but I couldn't see it, so I got all my stuff back, which was cool. So I actually have some stuff to work with now. And I got 15 diamonds, which is awesome. Nycad's on. What is he saying? We're talking about the last episode that Deadchim and myself did together. So apparently I made him miss Community. So we were talking about how he has to go back and watch that. Whoa. Yeah, this copyright claim stuff is just getting ridiculous, guys. Like, if you're not actually producing anything on YouTube, if you're not an LP yourself, you probably don't understand what we're all talking about, why we all hate it so much, all the new stringency of the policies. Because, I mean, I'm all for the person who makes the content to get credit for the content. Like, they should get paid for it. Gotcha. But that's not what's happening in a lot of these cases. On my mighty quest for epic loot Let's Plays, I keep getting hit with content claim, and it's a Ubisoft game, which, if you're not an LPer, you're probably not familiar with Ubisoft's policy when it comes to YouTube, which is quite literally, have at it, have fun, don't make racist or homophobic or ethnic slur comments, and we're cool. But somehow every single one of their games gets hit with copyright claims, and it's no one that has anything to do with the games that are actually making these claims. So it's just a real mess. But anyway, back to the actual game. I have done a little bit of mining, and I set up the second part of the Tinker's Construct. So the first part was the part builder, the pattern chest with all the patterns, the tool station, which this is where you can put improvements on the tools once you make them, and the stencil table, which is just where you get the patterns from. So pretty simple, pretty easy. They all basically just use wood, so you can set these up right off the start. I think the most complicated one is the chest, which is a blank pattern that's made by putting here, let me see if I can do it with these. So you would put 2 sticks, and if this was planks, you put 2 planks, and that would give you a pattern. So they're just kind of the basis for everything you do with Tinkers. So you put one of those on top of a chest, and you get this. So that is a little different from this. This is the, yeah, back to the copyright thing. The multi-channel networks are even worse than, we'll get into that in another video. But yeah, so this is what you actually use to smelt your ores with Tinkers. So, oh, I fell inside. Crap. Okay, let's do that. Shouldn't lose anything. So, this is the smelting station. It's pretty simple. You got to make these seared bricks out of a clay ball, a block of sand, and a block of gravel, and that gives you grout, and then you smelt the grout in a furnace and it gives you bricks, and then you stack the bricks just like you would with the regular clay bricks, but they give you these burnt bricks instead. So if you start doing the Tinker's Construct stuff, once you build these, it'll automatically feed you the next book in the series. So the first one is materials. When you spawn in the world, you get this. This just goes over how to make the patterns, how to make the tables, all that stuff. It goes over ore berries and punji sticks and just all the fun little things that Tinkers adds for Tier 1 playing. Then, once you start making that, you get book number 2. Book number 2 gets a little more in depth. Book number 2 teaches you how do you make shovels and hatchets and swords and just all kinds of weapons. I actually got a battle sign off of the slime that I killed. This is what that blue sign that I was swinging around is. And I think that's actually a reference to Vex. Some of his mini maps, he would give the zombie pigmen signs to run around and hit you with. So I think that's what that's just a little tongue-in-cheek reference to the Inferno maps. But this gives you all kinds of interesting tools. So like the hammer, which takes a little bit of crafting, but it mines out a 3x3 area. Also, it the smite portion is kind of a play on the clerics in Dungeons and Dragons tend to use warhammers and maces and blunt weapons. So that's why it has smite. It does extra damage because it's kind of a little. It's a cleric weapon. So little inside nerd geek information there. But like the lumber axe basically gives you the Decapitator. So it just hacks out huge chunks of trees all at once. Scythes, which do huge amounts of leaves or grass, things like that. So doing this starting with Tinkers will really speed up your gameplay, because you don't have to get to the point where you're building massive mining wells and things like that to excavate large areas. You can do it with the hand tools because they clear out very large areas. It also has these mixed things where you can use it as half a weapon and half as a tool, so that way you're not having to constantly switch back and forth. So just some cool little things that you get. But it also goes over get through the end, how you improve upon, you can add different spells, things like that, basically just through the tools themselves. Going back to the primary book, this guy, once again, once you get through into all that, it goes over the basics on how to build the smelting area. Once you build one of these two, then you get the third book. Third book actually goes over how to build that structure that I made. It's pretty simple. You need to make a 3x3 area of the seared blocks on the bottom, and then you go up a level. So you dig a 3x3 hole in the ground, line it with the blocks, and then around that you put down 3, 3, 3, and 3, and that will give you your base. Now attached to that you have to have one of the tanks and one of the control panels. So those are the only three that you have to have: the tank, the control panel, and the blocks themselves. But if you want to get a little more inventive, they have drains so that you can actually remove the stuff that you smelt. They have the glass panels, the see-through areas, just to make it look a little nicer. You need to make these faucets to be able to pour out. You need to make the tables. So it goes over everything. I believe the casting basin is if you want to actually make full blocks of items once you've smelted them down. And then you can also make different types of glass. So you can add the liquid things. So like this, obsidian with liquefied ender will give you endstone. So you can make endstone without ever going to the end. Pretty cool. But just to show what this thing does, let's throw in, let's do a stack of copper. Oh, wait, you know what? There's one thing I need to do first before we do the copper. I'll be right back. Alright guys, so that's what I forgot. The aluminum. So you need that to make aluminum brass. Aluminum brass is what you make your molds out of. So what we do is we come back over here to the pattern chest. So first thing that I want to make is the excavator. So I'm going to work on, let's start with, see, I know how to do the basics. This is something I might have to actually look into, but just to show how this thing works, let's say I want to make a tool rod. So with the part builder can access any pattern chest that it's attached to. So that way you don't have to keep jumping back and forth. Now, to cast this this mold that we're making, we need to first make one of these guys. So what we do is we take, I think I can do it with the pumice, piece of stone, we throw it up there with the pattern, and that gives us the stone tool rod and a shard. So we can go down here, move this back. Now, if you saw, everything has a cost, material cost. So the shard is the equivalent of, I believe, half of a stone brick. Yeah, so that way we are using one piece of stone to make a tool rod and the binding. And then let's say we do, let's go for a pickaxe head, which is, what? Oh, it's handguard here. So pickaxe cost 1, so that takes a whole piece of cobblestone. We don't have anything left over. That's that. So now you can see down here I've got my aluminum brass is all cooking up. Looks all nice and golden. So what I can do, I can take my stone binding and I place it there. Now you can't do this with wood, of course, because it would just burn. And then you tap and it fills up. You see it change color? That means it's done. And you just right click and you get them both back. So now, stone binding, where did they go? What? What just happened? 1 second. Alright, that was weird. I don't know what happened. I got it back, but so you have to make it, let it cool, and then just click on it. So now it's in my inventory. No idea what happened the last time. So, fun game, little glitchy, but still a lot of fun. So now let's do the pickaxe head. Take that back. And these we don't really need. We can just throw them away when we're done. Because we're not really going to use stone for anything. And that. So now I have casts. So what I could do, how much is, yeah, I'm going to want to use up the rest of this. But what I'm going to do between this episode and next, let's not fall in here and burn to death. I'm going to get all of the different components cast up and get it looking a little nicer around here. I've got an idea for what this is going to eventually look like, and I was talking with NICAD, and he sounded like he thought it was a cool idea. So think I'm going to just go for it. So you will see eventually what I'm building here. But for now, I'm going to continue feeling my way through this Tinker's Construct madness. And I will see you guys next time on the Nebulous Monster Feed the Beast server. Alright guys, bye.